Welcome to PDC Spotlight for October 2009. I'm John Jackley with the Portland Development Commission. We're here today at Rhythm Traders, which has a new location on Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard in Northeast and Failing Street. We're going to be talking with owner and operator Brad Boynton, who's not only a drummer himself, but he's been in the drum business for 17 years. And we're also going to be chatting with our own Sara King, who's going to talk about some of the great new developments we have in this area, which are bringing small businesses, affordable housing, livable communities, and jobs to this part of Northeast. So let's get started. Working with the local community on Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard has been a long-standing priority of PDC's. Since 1993, we've put over $75 million into this business corridor. We've added affordable housing, storefront grants, small business loans, and basically we work with people and their dreams to find ways to make small businesses a reality. You know, here in Portland, over 80% of all the jobs are produced and maintained by small businesses. So small business is a critical priority of PDC, and there's no area more important to us than North and Northeast Portland, particularly the commercial corridor here on Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. As we started adding jobs, housing, and business opportunities, we decided that we really needed to take advantage of the momentum that we'd already created by working with the community. So we put together a special team made up of representatives from all the different neighborhood organizations, businesses, citizen activists, and just people from the neighborhood. We put them together with our folks from PDC, and we created a Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard Action Plan. This plan has 35 separate items: public-private partnerships, affordable housing, jobs for small businesses. And the whole intention is to not just do a project here and a project there, but to do a complete opportunity for people who live here, for existing residents, so we can continue to produce jobs, provide affordable housing, and help make the neighborhoods livable. Here to tell us more about progress being made on the boulevard is Sara King, PDC Neighborhood Division Manager. Welcome to the show, Sara.
Thank you.
Why don't we start by you telling us a little bit about yourself, your background, your role at PDC, and then we'll get into some of the specifics that we're doing here.
Sure. I've been at PDC for 10 years. I've been working in North and Northeast Portland now for about 3 years. Previously, I've been working in other parts of the city. I manage a team of 8 folks, and our jobs basically is to oversee and deliver projects here in North and Northeast Portland which enhance the livability of the area.
So what are some of the things that we're going to see in the future on the Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard? And then we'll kind of talk about the action plan and some of the background that we've got.
Sure. What we're going to be seeing in the near future on the boulevard are the completion of some of the construction projects that are underway, such as the townhouses at Fremont and Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. We are also going to be seeing additional businesses pop up. We are talking to businesses all the time who want to take advantage of our loan programs. I think with the economy, even though the economy may be a little slow right now, it is amazing how many people are out there with businesses that are waiting and ready to grow, and people that want to start their own businesses.
And this isn't a new commitment by PDC. We've been at this for a long time.
We have. We've been at this, actually working on the boulevard since 1993. And in fact, here, Rhythm Traders is a great example of how we do support businesses. Rhythm Traders is new to the boulevard. They've got a great new space here. They've done a great job with the building that they bought here, and we were able to help them out with some of that.
So to get results, you need a plan, and PDC has put together a Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard Action Plan. Tell us a little bit about kind of what went into it and what are some of the specifics and the key action items.
Sure. Well, as I said, we've been working on Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard since 1993. However, in 2006, PDC and the community decided that there was really more work that could be done, and we wanted to have a focused effort with some key action steps. Sure. So we developed the Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard Action Plan, and that plan emphasizes really 3 key areas. 1, improving the boulevard as a place for businesses and helping businesses, particularly small businesses. 2, continuing to encourage new development, new buildings that can provide places for businesses and jobs for the local community. And 3, continuing to help Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard be a better boulevard for pedestrians and transit. So those are the things that we're starting to focus on. Some of the things that we have accomplished since 1993 include bringing street parking back to the boulevard to enhance the business climate, initiating storefront loans and business loans to help the businesses and property owners, and initiating catalyst projects. We actually have initiated 7 catalyst projects along the boulevard, many of which are under construction now, some of which, such as Vanport Square, have been completed. In addition to the projects that I mentioned, PDC has started to invest in affordable housing along the boulevard, and shortly we will see the Miracles Club project break ground. That will be both workforce housing as well as a new space for the Miracles Club itself. It's going to be a pretty exciting project, and it's going to have a big impact on that part of Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard.
Tell us a little bit about PDC's Catalyst Project strategy.
Sure. Well, in 1993, this boulevard looked very different than it does today. And the idea was that PDC wanted to work with private investment to leverage that private investment for big impacts on the boulevard. The way PDC thought that it could do that best was actually to buy up some property in key nodes, work with local developers to bring new commercial and mixed-use projects that would show the private sector what could be done on the street. And it's been very successful. As you look around, in addition to PDC's 7 catalyst projects, we've had numerous private investments on the boulevard. It's really been transformative.
And we've seen a regrowth of small business along the boulevard as well.
Yes, exactly. In fact, this is a great example here. Rhythm Traders, look across the street in many of these new buildings. In fact, these catalyst projects are perfect for providing space for new and small businesses.
So if we were to sum it up, PDC's priorities look something like this: jobs, catalyst projects, affordable housing, neighborhood revitalization, and trying to rebuild a sense of community that integrates diverse communities, diverse economies, diverse income levels to create a more vibrant, robust community than what we've had before.
Exactly.
Well, thanks so much for being on the show. If folks want more information about the Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard Action Plan, you can find it on our website, www.pdc.us. Portland Harbor is a critical part of Portland's economy, and we've got a great opportunity now to make it even better. It's called the Portland Harbor Redevelopment Initiative. We're putting together the blueprint for figuring out what's the best way to clean up the contaminated sites along the Willamette River so we can bring in jobs, housing, and business opportunities for everybody in Portland. We've got a team of experts that's already working on this blueprint. Let's take a look.
Hi, I'm Paul Slyman with the Portland Development Commission. The Portland Harbor Redevelopment Initiative is an economic development project aimed at helping the redevelopment of vacant and underutilized industrial land affected by pollution in Portland's working harbor. Our goal is to help return these lands to productive use, facilitating new jobs and businesses. The redevelopment of Portland's harbor has a ripple effect on the economic growth of our city, state, and region. The Harbor Ready Initiative is steered by a committee consisting of partners from our city and state, representing the many different organizations and interests or expertise is needed to comprehensively address the broad range of issues facing redevelopment. As we work with property owners, regulators, and prospective companies, our plan is to take lessons learned and apply them more broadly to other sites entangled in these same issues to allow for the creation of jobs and a more sustainable economy.
The goal of the Harbor Redevelopment Initiative has to be to help new businesses avoid the upland contamination liabilities, the Superfund sediment liabilities in the water, and then thirdly, these natural resource damages liabilities that are lurking out there. And we're trying to develop new tools and refine existing tools to help these businesses avoid those 3 categories of liability.
Steve Kuntz from the City of Portland's Bureau of Planning and Sustainability has been working on the city's economic opportunities analysis, projecting land needs for Portland's growth over the next 25 years.
Portland is one of the areas in the country where industry has been growing in recent years, in recent decades, in metals, in high tech, in distribution, a variety of fields. Our biggest unmet land need is for industrial land, and as the land supply tightens, the result of that is less job growth potential in the city, and it will potentially go elsewhere in the region or to other regions. Brownfields are a significant opportunity to help close that gap.
The involvement of private organizations, like the Portland Business Alliance and Columbia Corridor Association, are key to the success of Harbor Ready.
The harbor is an important employment lands area, and the jobs that are located here or could be located here are good jobs, and they're important. Keeping these sectors is really important to keeping our region competitive in these industries.
Harbor Ready enables us to work cooperatively and strategically through all of the issues involved toward the goals of creating new jobs and businesses while ensuring environmental problems are managed fairly and effectively. Our site-by-site approach, coupled with continued research, is helping us spur development and create a vibrant, prosperous working harbor.
The Oregon Sustainability Center will be a 200,000 square foot living building in an urban setting. It's going to be the hub for all of Portland's efforts to promote sustainability, and it's going to be a model in and of itself. For example, all the energy that the building used will be produced on site. They have innovative ways for dealing with wastewater, for rain, for recycling. It's going to be a real gem in Portland's economic development strategy, and it's one of the most exciting things the city's working on. Let's take a look.
The attempt with the Oregon Sustainability Center is to develop a living building, a building that lives within the energy that falls on its site, lives within the water that falls on its site, that meets all the needs of the people that are going to occupy the building, and does it in a really elegant way, that doesn't use any toxic chemicals or polluting chemicals anywhere in any of the materials or systems in the building.
To me, the exciting opportunity the Sustainability Center represents is to bring people together around opportunities, around problems, around issues they can collaborate to solve. So the building itself is a symbol of that, but the really exciting part to me is how it brings diverse players together to really think about we move the sustainability agenda forward.
We want a legacy building, so we want to see something iconic. We want it truly to meet the Living Building Challenge because we think that's a tremendous opportunity for Portland to create a scale building that's never been done before. And we want a building in which the occupants are truly embedded into the design concepts of the building. So it's not a building that's been designed and then the occupants have to adapt simply to it, but more that it's a building that takes into account the occupants' behavior and what it is that they need to function.
The Living Building Challenge lays out some pretty again, mind-opening parameters. You want it to be zero net energy, zero net water, things like that. So really what you're thinking about is how do you create a space which has, well, ideally a restorative impact on the environment. You know, one where we're not using up resources and wasting them, but really a space that gives back to the community, both the natural community, to the community in terms of energy and water, but also gives back to the community in terms of creativity.
We want to demonstrate that buildings can live in harmony with the planet. So, you know, where we get the materials and how much the materials we use, and figuring out how systems and materials do more than one thing. You know, so the idea is to make it simpler and more elegant.
I don't know if everybody knows, but the design team is actually made up of multiple different firms. On the architectural level, we have two different architecture firms working together. On the mechanical engineering side, we have 3 mechanical engineering firms that are involved. And what has been really remarkable to me in this process is seeing how fluidly those groups have worked together. So these companies that are normally competitors have been around the table generating ideas in a very collaborative way that's been really exciting. And you look around the table and at points I was just thinking, wow, you know, I would never have even guessed that these people work for different companies, that they're normally competitors. It's just so collaborative. And I think that really speaks to the Portland design community, that sense of collaboration and teamwork.
The Oregon Sustainability Center is going to look like a typical building in one sense, but it's going to have iconic features which is going to make it stand out. So as you approach the building, you will know that there's something unusual about it, but not until you actually get inside the building will you be able to witness features that you would not normally see. Every facet of what you take for granted in a building, in terms of how you turn on a faucet and get water out of it, will have a completely different way of being presented in this building, where you understand that there's forces at work that we take for granted. So it's going to be experiential. It's features net zero energy. So it's going to basically create its own energy on site. It can even be as effective as putting energy back into the grid. So our builds are going to be a net gain. It's going to use locally sourced materials. That's a very important thing. Most buildings are put together with materials coming from around the world, high carbon footprint. What we're looking at in this building is everything's going to be locally sourced. So these are the aspects that are going to distinguish this building from any other building that people go into.
As you can see from all the materials that have been generated, there's been this incredible outpouring of interest and expertise and creativity on building one of the most significant projects that I think the city and the region's going to see for quite some time. And Sam has been a tremendous supporter, and he's been pushing us as a team. He helped put many of us together, the Portland Development Commission, the Oregon Living Building Initiative, the Oregon University System, Portland Community College, the city. All of us have come together with a common purpose of trying to build one of the most significant building projects globally in one of the most significant, what we hope to become eco-districts within Portland State. So we're very excited about the project, and we're very excited to have a champion in our mayor who's really been pushing us all along. So without any further ado, Mayor Adams.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, as most of you might know, it is my goal for our city to be not just the most sustainable city in the United States, which I was really honored recently to pick up the Sustain Lanes Award for Most Sustainable City in the United States for the third year in a row, Portland, Oregon. This is a cornerstone of the new emerging Green University District that will be like no other eco-district in the United States. And so, from a very grateful City Council and from a very grateful city, thank you very much.
These videos are produced by John Cardenas at PDC. If you've got ideas for future videos that PDC Spotlight can use, drop us a line at video@pdc.us. We'll look forward to hearing from you. I'm here this morning with Brad Boynton, the owner and operator of Rhythm Traders. Brad's been in the drum business for over 16 years, and now he has a new location here in the neighborhood at Northeast Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard and Failing Street. Brad, welcome to the show. We really appreciate your letting us shoot here. Tell us a little bit about your background, how you got into the drum business, and man, you can't beat this location. This is just fantastic.
It's awesome, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I'm a drummer and a small business owner, obviously. I started Rhythm Traders in 1992. It was originally called African Rhythm Traders, and that was based on my experiences backpacking through West Africa, living with drummers and drum makers. I ended up marketing the drums from the drum makers that I had lived with in Ghana, and found a cute little storefront on West Burnside over by Powell's Books. My rent back then was $350 a month, and it included utilities. So I opened up shop. That was about 17 years ago, and I've moved 3 times since then. Always to a larger location. Once we had drums hanging from the ceiling, we knew it was time to move.
So you've had 3 locations, but they've all been in Northeast. What is it about this area that appeals to you so much?
You know, when I had the little storefront on Burnside, I realized that a lot of my customers lived on the east side. And the thing about the east side is there's a lot of really vibrant neighborhoods. I mean, if you just look at the streets, Belmont and Hawthorne, Alberta, Mississippi. So I wanted to be near my customers, near all these vibrant neighborhoods. But also there's, you know, just from my east, standpoint. There's less congestion. Parking is really simple. And also the affordability aspect.
Sure.
I was able to, rent a storefront, and it was within my means. And also, it's an affordable place for Portlanders too.
Sure. So, Brad, you've worked with PDC before in the past, right?
Absolutely. As a tenant in our last storefront, we used a storefront improvement grant to paint the building.
And so here at your new location, we also partnered with you to try and make the business a success. So let me ask you, what was it like working with PDC? Don't pull any punches. This is something everyone kind of wants to know. We get a lot of questions about it. How was your experience?
Well, actually, it was a pretty smooth process. When I came into it, I knew that this building had some exterior needs, and so I knew that I was going to do the storefront improvement program. I didn't actually know about the other programs that I ended up using at that time.
Which ones were those?
I used Development Opportunity Services. It's also called DOS. That helped me do feasibility studies to find out what I could and could not do with the building, and also to we brought in consultants to look at the mechanical systems, structural. We talked about seismic issues, so it gave me a sense of what I was getting into before I started the project.
So now that the building's been done, the business is starting to get off the ground. How are things? How are customers? How do you like it here in the neighborhood?
It's awesome. Actually, I got a great welcome from the neighborhood, from all the businesses down here. It really feels good to be a part of a neighborhood. Our last storefront, it was in the Lloyd district, which is more of a commercial area. And so after about 5 p.m., it really gets quiet. So here, there's just a lot of positive traffic coming and going. A part of it is our customers, but also we have a lesson program down here. So there's kids coming and going, taking lessons. There's ministers coming down to buy tambourines for the churches. And so there's just a lot going on.
Boy, that's great. So are you still playing in a band yourself now?
I do. That's one thing that won't stop. I play timbales in a Cuban band right now.
Oh, cool. When's your next gig?
Tonight.
Awesome. And that's our show for today. I'd like to thank Sara King at PDC for sharing some of the cool developments here in the neighborhood. We'd really like to thank Rhythm Traders and Brad Boynton for sharing their location, for sharing his experiences, telling us about what it's like to work with PDC as a small business. You know, Brad mentioned earlier that he plays in a Cuban group. So if you want to hear some great salsa music, go to Mississippi Pizza on the first and third Fridays of every month. I'd also like to thank the North Portland Media Training Center and the Skanner Foundation for helping us produce and do these videos. I'm John Jackley. Thanks for watching. See you next time.